5 cars from the period when quality control meant fingers crossed. Hey guys, you've probably heard baby boomers talking about classic cars and saying, oh, they don't make them like they used to. Indeed, those old guys are correct. Today's cars are made entirely differently. In fact, we should consider ourselves very fortunate that the old school way of making cars is long gone. Modern vehicles are all about quality and safety, which was just not the case with models produced 50 or so years ago. Back in those days, testing was little more than going a few times around the block, and quality control meant fingers crossed. That's why some of the cars of that era were hilariously flawed and even dangerous right from the factory. Today, we will discuss those models, the well-known cars from automotive history which were notoriously undeveloped and had a terrible reputation. Number 1. Mini. We've all known and loved the Mini since it was an immensely influential and significant car. When it was introduced in 1959, it revolutionized the car industry. Even today, every single front-wheel drive car uses its drivetrain layout and concept. However, the Mini was not without its flaws. Apart from being unsafe and rust-prone, the Mini had one major design flaw that only becomes apparent after a while. Due to its transversely mounted engine, the radiator was moved to the side, behind the left wheel well. This design feature left the distributor and spark plug wires without any protection, and during rainy days, water soaked the starting system of the Mini through the front grille. This left thousands of owners stranded and without any chance of starting their car. Number 2. Lancias, Fiat, and Alfa Romeos from the 70s. Italian cars from the 70s were gorgeous machines, beautiful in every way. In those days, the Italians were known for their unique engineering approach with high-revving twin-cam engines, lightweight cars, elegant interiors, and bodies designed by Pininfarina, Zagato, or Bertone. Even the ordinary everyday cars were rolling artworks. However, all of them had a huge problem: rust. The Fiats, Lancias, and Alfa Romeos from the 70s were so rust-prone that owners joked that on a quiet night you could hear your car rusting in the garage. The reason was pretty simple. Italians imported large quantities of Russian steel, which was cheap but poor quality. At the time, Fiat, Lancia, and Alfa Romeo's bosses were happy thinking that they'd made a good deal. But after a few years, the amount of disintegration and rusty cars on the road was alarmingly high. That is why almost every single model from that period has had a full restoration at some point. Number 3. Reliant Robin. In 1973, Reliant introduced the Robin just in time for the oil crisis, which helped increase sales. With its 850cc engine and around 50 horsepower, the Reliant Robin weighed less than 500 kilos, which made it surprisingly agile and fuel efficient. However, the 3-wheel configuration was tricky in tight turns. Robins were known to flip over if the driver entered the curve too quickly. Although relatively slow, Robins were just not safe, but that wasn't the worst thing. Reliance had used a light glass fiber body which was very flammable. In combination with rusty fuel lines and a poor electric system, it shouldn't be surprising to discover that hundreds if not thousands of Robins just burned to the ground. Number 4. The Ford Pinto. Introduced in the early 70s, the Pinto was very popular due to its low price, reasonably nice design, and long list of options. It was equipped with economical 4- and 6-cylinder engines and looks like the perfect car for the period. So, what was the problem? Well, while engineering the car, Ford somehow left out any protection of its rear-mounted fuel tank. The fuel tank was located below the trunk and just behind the rear bumper. On most cars, there is a strong cross member which protects the fuel tank in case of a crash. However, the Pinto just lacked this feature. This only became apparent when people started getting killed in fiery crashes caused by leaking fuel tanks. Families of people killed or hurt in such incidents sued Ford, and eventually the company spent millions settling the court cases. Number 5. The Chevrolet Corvair. In the late 50s, Chevrolet presented the Corvair, a revolutionary compact car with a rear-mounted, air-cooled flat-six engine. For a couple of years, it looked like everything was good. Sales were doing well until a book called Unsafe at Any Speed hit bookstores all across America and caused significant problems for GM. The book's author had come into possession of classified documents showing that the Corvair was the reason for many car accidents, including some with fatal consequences. Unfortunately, due to the engine being positioned in the back of the car, the Corvair suffered problems with the handling. Chevrolet was aware of the problem but didn't want to invest any money in additional stabilizer bars and suspension modifications. Chevrolet's lack of quality control caused government hearings and an admittance that its executives knew something about the matter. This resulted in a large settlement and a commitment to invest more money in safety research. Towards the end of its life, Corvair sales were slashed, and the model was discontinued in 1969. So, there you are. Thanks for watching. Cheers!